You underestimated the people. You took a gamble and you lost.
Okay, we don't like this. Okay, well then we're going to do this. And that is just how it's going to be.
Evidence brought to light that there is a corrupt officer, or that that officer did shoot that kid on purpose.
I don't care how I look, I don't care how I sound, I don't care what the beat is. I just care the message gets across.
What's up, everyone? This is the Tinman with the Resistance. If you're watching this, you are the Resistance. And today we've got a special treat. I've got my buddy from California, Garrett Edward Spears. And basically what we are doing today is we are covering the perspective of atheism. Basically why they believe, what they believe, what makes the atheist tick. So Garrett, go ahead and give us a little bit of background as to who you are exactly.
Well, I was born and raised in Redlands, California. I graduated from Redlands High School back in 2002. Then I went to college at Crafton Hills, and I graduated from there in 2005. And then I transferred up to Humboldt State University, graduated there in 2007 with a bachelor's degree in journalism. And I am also a member of the Free Thinkers Around Redlands, California. We are a group. We are located on meetup.com. And once a month, we have a booth at Market Night Thursdays called Ask an Atheist. We have any questions regarding, and we are not a condemner of any religion of that booth, but a lot of Christians do try to prove us wrong, and we aren't there to prove anyone wrong. We're just there to give us our point of view on things.
That's understandable.
And basically, any of the questions you're going to ask, Chris, are 99% they've been asked at the booth. But go ahead, shoot away.
Okay, well, the first question would have to be, what made you decide to become an atheist, and how long have you been an atheist?
Well, as I was getting older, since I was kind of questioning a few things. Yes, I was once Episcopalian, and up to when I was getting into high school, about maybe it would have been 8th grade. You know, 8th grade or 9th grade, I kind of questioned when I noticed a few weird things, and so I started questioning a few things that I don't remember all of them by heart, but basically you kind of get the gist.
Yeah.
And so,
certain things didn't add up, basically.
Yeah, and I looked in through history of not just Christianity, but all religions like Islam and, let's say, I don't know what else to call it, but Zeusism, which is now known as Greek mythology or ancient Egyptian as well. And this part kind of made me question a few things. Okay, wait a minute. In school, we're taught that these people worshipped these gods like Zeus, Odin, Horus, and why are we calling it mythology when this was religion back then? So in other words, today's religion will be tomorrow's mythology. And think about it. I mean, there's a lot of things almost every religion has. There's like the supernatural thing of like walking on water, raising from the dead. How come that stuff doesn't happen today? So by the age of 19, or maybe 2 days before I turned 19, I know it's sometime in April, I just, you know what? This is fairy tales. All they are just moral stories, but it's sad how people take it for realism. And I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. There's great morals in all these religious stories in any religion. And no matter what religion you believe, and I'm quoting from the band Slayer, or even if you don't believe in a religion, there's always right and wrong. Even Satanism has its limits as well. I have looked at I believe it's 13 rules they follow. I don't remember. I know it's 12 or 13. And one that really stands out the most is thou shalt not harm children. That's a rule Satanists follow.
Huh. I was not aware of that. I read an article about 6 months back about a Satanist group meeting in a basement of Chuck E. Cheese doing human sacrifice involving teenagers.
Yeah. Well, I know
They
there are
might
some
not
that
be
do, but
the part of the official Church of Satan, maybe just some weird occultic thing some weird
yeah,
thing
with
that they had going on
Anton LaVey.
themselves.
Yes, Anton LaVey, who created the Church of Satan and the Black House in San Francisco. That was one of the rules that was made, or that him and his followers followed. And I do know for a fact, yes, there are a bunch of people who claim to be Satanists do harm children as well. I mean, let's name serial killer Richard Ramirez was a Satanist, and I think he raped and killed some underage girls.
Yeah.
To the best of my knowledge, he killed 13 people, and I'm positive at least 2 of them were teenage girls. I think I'm positive.
Yeah. Well, there's good, bad,
But
and
yes,
everything, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, getting back to the religious versus atheism thing, you said you were Episcopalian in your youth. I'm assuming your family is Episcopalian, correct?
I'm going to be honest with you. This part gets complicated, even for me. Okay. I was baptized in the Greek Orthodox Church, and my godfather is Greek. And yes, he was born in the country of Greece.
Oh, nice.
So yes, and by law, I can legally marry in the Greek Orthodox Church. Although I am not Greek Orthodox, but my godfather and his wife and 2 daughters are.
Yeah.
And yes, my mother took me to Episcopalian church. Although when I was in kindergarten, I went to a Lutheran school for kindergarten, and then I went to an actual public school for the rest of my elementary school life.
Okay.
And my father never went to church, and I'll be honest with you, he's kind of a little complicated at things, because I don't really call him an atheist, because he's not really, because he doesn't believe in any religion, but I wouldn't call him agnostic either.
He's
although he has
spiritual, basically. Correct me if I'm wrong here. He believes in a higher power, but doesn't subscribe to religious ideologies.
Yeah, and I wouldn't call him agnostic either. I just call him a believer in what I don't know. But both of my parents. But yes, you're saying spiritual. My dad did mention something in a way. He lives almost according to like Native American. And both of my parents both have Native American blood inside their DNA. My father is of Lasenia, and my mother is Chumash.
Oh man, so you've got quite a diverse background.
Yeah, I mean, and on my mother's side, she's also of Mexican descent, and so yeah, so I'm mostly European, and
You
mostly
are essentially a part of the melting pot.
Yeah, I guess say, but I remember someone saying also top salad, but I whatever, either one I'll take.
I don't know. I've never heard that term used as far as DNA. That's more or less just been a homosexual reference, but moving on. So, does your family, in relation to the atheism, do any of your family who are religious, has that been at all a source of contention between you and various family members? Has it caused any problems with you and any family?
Well, yeah, there's been some problems, not mainly on me, but okay. On my father's side, he has a brother who's a Mormon, and my mother's side, she has a brother who is a Jehovah's Witness.
Oh wow!
And yeah, if you know anything about those 2 religions, that's almost like Palestine and Israel clashing against each other.
Oh yeah.
And so with my Mormon uncle, the church it still is to him far more important than anybody else in his family. I don't mean like his wife and his 3 daughters. I'm talking about like his mother, father, and his siblings. And the same thing goes with my mother's brother. Although, come to think about it, I just remembered. She has 2 brothers who became Jehovah's Witnesses. One left, and now he's excommunicated from his brother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he.
So people in your family take religion pretty seriously then.
Some do, yes. Others admit that they are, but they're not like what is it? They're not extreme about it. I know it's kind of hard to define. It's important, but they're not extreme about it.
Yeah, it's like it's an essential part of their life, but they don't force feed their ideology on you.
Right.
Yeah, I especially see that with the LDS, the Mormons, because as a Mormon myself, we have the Articles of Faith, one of which reads, "We respect all people's rights to believe and worship what they will."
Right.
So
sure. You hold on a sec.
Absolutely.
Sure. Sorry about that.
It's all good, brother. It's all good.
Yeah, sorry it took so long. Sorry, I was needed for some help. I had to put the phone down. Okay, now, back to, I think we left off on my 2 uncles on my mother's side being Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, we touched a little bit about that, and then we discussed the Articles of Faith with the LDS Church.
Yeah, all right. Well, okay, before I get to my father's brother, I'm going to talk about my 2 uncles that are Jehovah's Witnesses. All right. Well, okay. One is very deeply religious, and the other one, well, I guess it was, but he wasn't altogether there. He was insane. And so basically, and so then he broke off and he was excommunicated from anybody that's Jehovah's Witness, including his own brother, who was deeply a believer.
Wow.
And when their father was in the hospital, the Jehovah's Witness believer had to make sure the insane excommunicated brother wasn't causing problems in the hospital when their father was dying. And so
wow.
he, and then the other one, but the insane one wouldn't go in because he said, "No, my brain implant, it won't function well." So that was going to be the first time that the 2 would even speak with each other.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what to say in response to that, because I know mental illness is a very serious thing. You know, I try not to joke about that, or anybody with disabilities or anything. You know, I've had some contentions with a few people with disabilities, but I try to be respectful of the fact that they have a disability, so I don't sit there and try to bash people's disabilities, even if I have a problem with them as a person or have an issue with them. You know,
I get
it's not their fault that they have a disability or a mental health issue or anything like that. You know, it's things that are beyond their control. Right. So I actually feel very sorry for people in that regard.
Right.
I'm sorry that your family is having so many contentions because of that.
Yeah, and so, and then, so then with my father's brother, the Mormon, well, he speaks with the family that's not his wife or 3 daughters, once in a while. Yeah.
But everything revolves around the church, for the most part.
Yeah. But the church is always more important to him than anyone else in his family.
That is really weird, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but I do find that very weird, because as LDS, the family unit, even those who are non-member, you know, the family unit as a whole, family is very important, whether they're LDS or not. That's generally something that's very, very important to most LDS. So it's honestly
Right.
surprising to see that you have people in your family who are LDS that aren't exactly that close with various members of the family.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so, and I don't know how long it's been since I've spoken to all three of his daughters, but she now moved to West Virginia with her husband, and her I met, and I've spoken to her the most in the last, I'd say about 11 years. The other two I haven't seen in a while, and I heard one of them broke away from the Church of Latter-day Saints.
Yeah.
And I don't have her as a Facebook friend either, but from what I hear, she's really just bashing the Mormon belief all the time on Facebook. Her and her husband.
Going anti-Mormon on everybody, huh?
Yeah, and
so it's funny. I catch a lot of I catch a lot of shit for the term anti-Mormon, but it's a common vernacular.
Yeah.
I find that very funny. It's kind of the same thing with the atheism thing. In fact, that's a good question to ask. Would you consider atheism to be an appropriate vernacular to describe your position? If not, what would you consider to be the proper vernacular, and vice versa, what would be considered a derogatory vernacular?
Not sure how to answer that, but I don't know. I can't really answer much. But yeah, so basically, and also, here's another thing too. I mentioned about my mother's brother, the deeply religious one of Jehovah's Witness. She, after her father died, or their father died, she found out all these lies that had been told. She discovered all these things that were told about him have been some lies, and she lost 20 years of life with him, and now they've made up for some weird reason. Don't know how to answer that, but or explain it, I should say.
Just one of those miraculous things, huh?
Yeah. And so, what else was there? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, and so mainly, okay, but yeah, like I said, she's made up, but now her and him have issues with their brother and their sister, but it's not on a religious issue with those two. It's just one's insane and it's just pain in the ass, while the other one is just being a scam artist.
Yeah.
That's the only way I know how to explain it.
Yeah, I can understand that. You know, there are just some people who are like that. Okay, so with your position on atheism, is it more an issue regarding the stories in the Bible or the Bible itself, or is it more focused towards organized religion as a whole? Which would be your biggest problem and why?
I'm not sure which would be the biggest problem. It's just science proves almost just about everything in this world. I mean, sure. I mean, let's see here. Evolution is more believable because there's so much evidence. The Big Bang Theory, like I said, it's just a theory. It's never 100% proven to be true.
Yeah, you can only go on what's been 100% proven true. You know, either it's true or it's not.
Yeah, I mean, yes, they've proven there's gases in the universe around us, and that's what they believe happened. There's evidence, but there's not really proof that it's true.
Yeah.
That's one thing, too. A lot of people believe evidence is proof. No, not always.
Yeah.
Because there's this thing called physical evidence and circumstantial evidence that, you know, when they come to court of laws, circumstantial is belief you may have been there. Physical is proof that you were there. And And even in science, majority of it is circumstantial.
Yeah, and I always try to lean on the philosophy as far as science goes, that just because it can't be proven doesn't mean that it can't later be proven, and it doesn't necessarily mean that just because you can't prove something right then and there, that it's not necessarily true.
Right.
Yeah, because you never know. And as far as religion goes, and I want to get your opinion on this, I tend to lean towards the idea that anything spiritual, like spiritual manifestations, the abilities of God as depicted in the Bible, and even magic such as witchcraft and stuff like that,
Yeah.
may in fact be a level of science that we as human beings have not yet reached and therefore can't yet comprehend. Like, take a few centuries ago. You've seen the movie Hocus Pocus, right?
Yes.
And remember when the kid uses the lighter to set off the overhead fire extinguishers and they think it's magic and all that?
Right.
You know, that was essentially a level of science that those witches from that era didn't understand. They thought it was magic. So I
Exactly.
tend to lean towards that ideology, that maybe what we know as spirituality and magic may just be a form of science that we don't understand, like the talking snake. That could be puppeteering or one throwing their voice. If it wasn't just a calling Lucifer a derogatory name just because they wanted to call him a derogatory name.
Right.
Or like even the creation of Adam, that kind of leans a little more towards alchemy. The resurrection, reanimation of dead cells. You know, so we have some science that could suggest a support to varying elements of the Bible. So it stands to reason that it may in fact be a science that we just haven't yet come to terms with.
Right. And also, here's another thing I almost just realized, forgot to mention.
Shoot.
Also, being judged a lot for so many things. I mean, I also back when I was a believer, I used to wear different necklaces at once, across the yin yang, and Ankh, Star of David, and the only one I got shit from was the Ankh, and they would claim, oh, it's a satanic symbol. No, it's not. It's ancient Egyptians for eternal life. And also, here's something else. My mother never believed in any religion. Why she took me to church, I don't know. And then when I decided to stop going, she was honest, and she stopped going too. I'm like, just because I don't want to go anymore, doesn't mean you should stop going. But she never believed in me. I'm like, I can't believe this. I can't believe I've been lied to for so long.
Yeah. Well,
someone who's an atheist, why would they do that?
Well, I take it you catch a lot of shit from Christians and whatnot, like you were mentioning before about how you get hit with a lot of questions and a lot of opposition trying to prove your position wrong. And I noticed on Facebook you post a lot of things based on your atheist perspective and position. What is your official position on such a subject as far as pushing one's ideology versus sharing an ideology?
Basically, like I said, science proves many things, and there's lots of things that can be said. There's evidence through science. A book with a bunch of fairy tales is just something someone wrote. I mean, it's funny how people would call Rumpelstiltskin a fairy tale, but they would believe that Noah's Ark was an actual historic event. But yet there have been so many other civilizations that were around, and they have historical events written down about their culture at the same time when the ark happened.
Yeah.
So I just said, yeah. So right there, that's one major thing too.
Yeah.
And
I'm not
also
gonna...
one time at our booth on a Thursday, there were some believers, and they wanted to know why you are this way. And one of our guys had a 6-sided die, and he said, "All right, here's a die. What number would you want me to roll?" And she said, I don't remember which number it was, but it was somewhere between 1 and 6, of course. I don't remember what number it was. And he says, "Okay, well, why didn't you ask for 7?" And of course, because there's only 6 sides. And you said there were 6 sides. The reason why you asked me to roll 7 is because there's 6, and you can prove that. What makes you think you can prove the Bible to be real when it's just written down in a book?
Yeah. Like I said, there's a lot of issues where science and Christianity tend to butt heads. There is some support, of course, but there's also a lot of contention, which I personally think is fucking hilarious, because being LDS, I get the same Christians who come after you guys trying to prove their point, saying, "Oh, you gotta have faith, but then try to turn around and use the same science that you guys use to support their reasoning against our belief system." I think that's fucking hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gotcha.
So I gotta ask, it's like, okay, you go to the atheist and bitch, live and let live, blah, 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 believe, don't try to denounce my belief, why are you attacking my belief, but then they turn around and attack somebody else's belief.
Right.
Yeah, which is why I asked you, where is your position on pushing individual beliefs, whether religious or atheist? Like, do you feel that it's a good tactic to push ideologies, or do you just stand with the position of sharing?
I know some religions are told to go around and say it, but here's how I'd say it. Do it in where you believe, a place of worship, your own home, or if you want to gather more people, don't go to someone else's home and knock on the door, ring the doorbell. Try to rent a place and say all are welcome, ask for donations or pay to come here, something like that. That's fine, but do what you want, but do it in a way where someone is where you're not forcing it at them on their own time.
Yeah. So basically, it's okay to share it in an appropriate setting, but don't force feed it.
Yeah.
Okay. Regarding your Facebook posts, I know you've got a few friends on your friends list who are various religious backgrounds. What do they generally say in regards to your atheist posts? Like, you and I joke a few times, like I'll post a few things, like just being a joke and being a dickhead. But on a serious note, what does that ever offend those people on your friends list? Has it caused any problems for you?
If they're truly believers and they're offended by it, they can just delete me or unfriend me. I got one who really is a believer in God. Don't know what type of religion, but he is God. And I see him around Redlands here and there, and he's a good guy. I get along with him, but I mean, he's never pushed it on me personally in person or on Facebook. He just puts it as a regular post once in a while.
Yeah.
And if anybody's really offended at what I do, I mean, they're more than welcome to unfriend me. But the ones that I'm not saying they would or wouldn't, but they would, but I still see their posts they put up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, they can always just change their settings to where they don't see your posts on their timeline. I've had a few issues with that where people don't like my political posts. It's like,
I didn't know you
either
could do that
unfriend
on
me or
Facebook.
change your settings to where you don't see my shit.
Interesting. I have to check that out. I never saw that before.
Yeah, it's in the settings. You can actually go onto a person's Facebook page and change the settings there to where you don't see any of their stuff come up on your timeline. The only time you would actually see it is if you go to their wall.
Awesome. I'll have to check that out. I'm not super computer savvy, but I know a few things.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert at everything in this world, but what I know I can do, and when I know I need help, I go get help. I'm not a know-it-all like so many people I've known in my life. When there's something I'm really not sure about, I'm like, I'm gonna need your help on this. And up there are so many people that I know. Just do it. I'm like, this is my first time doing this. I don't want to take the risk of breaking this and short-circuiting this. I've never done this before. Geez, cut me some slack.
Yeah, I can understand that. If you don't know something, probably best not to do it until you have an understanding of how it works and what you're supposed to be doing.
I know. I just can't stand. I mean, there's one person I know who believes that everything he's good at, everyone is good at. Everything he's bad at, everyone is bad at.
Oh wow!
I'm like, that's like, how's that possible? When people have different jobs doing certain things, that means what they're doing for a living, they're good at, not what they're bad at.
Yeah.
But then again, I guess there are some people who, for some reason, still keep a job or a career at something they're bad at, and how they make money off it, who knows?
Well, to each their own, I guess.
Yeah.
Like the saying goes, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them think, right?
Right.
And I sense that's where you get a lot of your contention is just fucking think.
Yeah,
Stop being the blind leading the blind. Think for yourself and come to a rational, logical conclusion. Even if you believe in a higher power or whatever, don't subscribe to something just because it's popular.
Yeah. Oh, also, the same person I told you about that believes everything he's good at, everyone is, and everything he's bad at, everybody's bad at. He also has this belief that everything he uses, everyone uses. Everybody that doesn't use it, he doesn't use, nobody uses. Like the internet. He thinks because he doesn't use computers or go online, use the internet, he thinks nobody else does.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that.
Look up the statistics of how many people are online during the day, or just go online yourself and see how often people are actually online, especially social media. The evidence is there.
Exactly. And that's just new level of stupidity, I guess. Just as stupidity as Ray Comfort's belief about the banana. I take it you know about that.
I do, but go ahead and explain it for those who don't, because I'm involved in a very broad realm.
Okay, this is just plain stupid. I don't care what you believe in. I don't care what your belief is. Using this is just plain stupid. Okay. You can go on YouTube and find this. There's a video of Ray Comfort and Kurt Cameron, and he says to him, and Ray Comfort says to Kurt, saying, Kurt, let me show you something. The banana, the atheist's worst nightmare. And I know I'm not going to say word for word correctly, but basically it says, it's God's greatest design. See how it perfectly fits in the hand, how the top opens up like a soda can. You just peel it down, and you just put it in your mouth. And I'm like, okay, I know he made a complete fool of himself, sounding almost as if he was gay, which is people he condemns. But how the hell is a banana an atheist's worst nightmare? It's food. People eat food, no matter what they believe. I know some foods are forbidden in certain religions, but I can't think of any religion that says a banana is forbidden to eat. And I'm an atheist. I've eaten bananas. I've eaten apples. I've eaten tacos. I've eaten pizzas. I've eaten anything that's food. Why would I be afraid of a banana?
Sorry, I got hit with that the other night at work. They're like, have you ever eaten pig intestines? I'm like, no. But then again, I live down here in the South, so coming from California, I get hit with all kinds of weird shit.
Yeah. What was the question again at work that you said? I'm sorry, you said it way too fast.
Oh, a coworker of mine, he was joking about chitlins, which apparently is the innards of pig, like intestines, so on and so forth. He's like, you ever eat chitlins? I'm like, no, I never eat chitlins. Up until you explained it, I didn't even know what the fuck a chitlin was. I'm from California, motherfucker. I don't know this shit.
I know. It's amazing how people behave to one another.
It is, and I finally, it just boggles my mind, especially in regards to the religion versus atheist thing. A lot of atheists push their ideas on other people when a lot of their whole premise was based on the idea of standing against religions because they push their ideas on other people.
Right. Yeah.
So that's
and also there's a ton. Also, speaking of which, back to a market night with Asking Atheist Food. We only do it once a month, like I said. Every night, there's always these people that try to prove Christianity is true and evolution is bullshit.
Okay, go into a little detail here, if you can. Do you remember anything of particular interest that they've tried to hit you with to prove their point?
Well, let's see here. I mean, and just the nerves of them always trying to come up and bother us. But when in reality, if you think about it, they're the ones that started it.
They're all pushing the ideologies.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. Do what you want, but we have ours, and we're only one group. There's like 7 booths there that are religious, and we're just this one group, and we're just there. So, and one night when I wasn't there because I had to be at work, there were 3 people, from what I was told, across from the booth, praying for everybody there. And it's like, okay, prayer doesn't work. It was just weird. And one woman even came up one time and said that, I don't want to sound mean to you, but I have met Jesus and he is my guide to life, and we speak every day to each other. Okay.
It's like, okay, so did Jesus come down off his cloud? He descended from his throne above and come down to talk to you personally?
Well, if you truly know anything about the Bible, especially a section of the book of Revelation, when Jesus comes back, he is not nice, he is wrathful.
Yeah, the whole end of days,
Yeah.
Everybody gets wrapped. All the saints get raptured, and everybody else gets God's wrath. Yep, I know.
Right. And he would not be nice to that one woman who told us that.
I can imagine so.
Yeah.
So that's a good question to ask. A lot of people would argue that the events of today, the wars, the famines, everything that's going on in the world, natural disasters, so on and so forth, that these were all prophesied in the book of Revelations and are now unfolding before our eyes. What would be yours, or more specifically, the atheist stance on that argument?
Well, let's just say human beings are not the only things that evolve. So, and animals are not the only things that evolve. So does the Earth. Climate changes are happening. Global warming, well, it slowly does it. And basically, no matter what us humans do through pollution, as well as certain animals too, it's just sure things die off, but and new things will be created.
Yeah.
So that's mainly that. The world's never really going to truly come to an end.
So you don't think that the circumstances of everything that's happening are necessarily biblical prophecies coming to pass?
Right.
What about the theory that the elitists, those who are high up in government and the super rich, are actually propagating this to give the illusion that we are in the end days, so that they can establish
They've been
themselves?
saying that for years. They've been saying that for a long time. They've been saying about that, the Antichrist is actually Ronald Reagan because his first, middle, and last name have 6 letters, 666, number of the beast. Then they say that about Gorbachev as well.
Yeah.
And if you truly read the book of it, the Antichrist is not in the Bible. It's talking about people individually, not specifically.
Yeah,
Those who don't believe in Jesus is the Antichrist. That's what it even says.
Say that again?
Yeah. Now, I don't know the whole dialogue by heart, but it's saying that people who do not follow Christ are the Antichrist. So basically, there's more than one Antichrist. There's no major evil Antichrist.
Basically, it's anybody who stands in opposition to Christ or presents themselves as a Christ or a false prophet. You know, basically, sheep's clothing vernacular.
Exactly, that's what it is.
Okay.
And I mean, and also some say, first the Antichrist will appear to be good, and that's where the idea of both Reagan and Gorbachev were considered to be Antichrist. Because
I can see how that assumption was made.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know. I probably pissed off a lot of conservative Republicans and Christians for saying that Ronald Reagan was once there the Antichrist, but I'm just saying what was something that was written to be true. That was not really written to be true. I say, let me redefine what I said. It was what people had a belief at the time, and a lot of people have forgotten that part. Yeah, and that's a pretty good assumption with Reagan if you think about it. I mean, the idea of his first, middle, and last name having 6 letters and the number of the beast, that's just, that was pretty good thinking, whoever thought of that.
Yeah, that is a good observation. Doesn't necessarily make him an Antichrist, but
no,
it is a good observation.
I'm not saying he is. Because I know the man was a deeply religious person, and
so was Adolf Hitler. Look what happened there.
Exactly, yeah, but yeah, it's just. But I wasn't implying anything. I'm just saying what some people had actually believed at the time when he was president.
Yeah.
And as we all know, that turned out to be false as well.
Oh, of course. So back to the history aspect of things. You mentioned that you really love to research history, and you've researched a lot of these religions and mythologies and whatnot. So I'm assuming you know about the Council of Nicaea.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know that much on it. I've probably heard of it, but I don't know that much about it.
Well, the Council of Nicaea was held under the Roman Emperor Constantine in the early 300s. And basically what happened is Constantine liked the Christian ideology, and he wanted to form a religion from that. And
okay, now I know what you're talking about. Yes.
And at which point he got this grand council together They got all the holy writings, went through everything, and went, okay,
Mhm.
this goes in, this does not. This goes in, this does not. And
Yeah,
allegedly,
now I
the
know
end
what you're
result
talking
is you've
about.
got the books of the Bible in addition to 50 miles worth of catacombs containing potentially holy texts that are locked away under Vatican City, not accessible to the
Right.
public. So, from an atheist standpoint, considering there are so many unanswered questions and science undeniably has this contention with spirituality, is it possible that some of those restricted texts may actually hold the answers and fill in some of the blanks?
Maybe. I'm not really sure. I have no answer on that.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, another thing too about me, I'm a big fan of science fiction and fantasy, so I like to create a lot of fan fiction with many things. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to like Roman and Greek mythology or Egyptian, I pretty much like I read a lot about that more than the actual history. Although I do know actual histories of real life of those ancient beliefs. But
Yeah. Well, I've known you for several years. You and I used to work together out in California.
right.
So you and I have gotten to know each other pretty well, hung out. And I know you're real big into the fantasy and writing fictions and whatnot. You know, you're a very creative mind. Never once denied or doubted that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one thing I always come to admire about you. But
That's good.
I know you kind of pressed for time, so is there anything else that you would like to add or point out? Something that I may have not covered?
I can't think of anything because mainly I just left all the questions for you. I was open to ask anything, and that's just basically that. I mean, evolution happens in weird ways. Technology is no denial about that, and it's sad how some people just don't know how to accept the change that is good in life when they could be making their life better. That's just basically it. I can't really say anything else.
I'm not even sure what else can be said at this point on the topic. As far as anybody else watching this video, if you have anything you'd like to add based on your perspective, whether religious, atheist, or whatever, feel free to leave it in the comments section and continue on with the discussion. And Garrett, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. I know you got a busy day ahead of you. Thank you so much for your time, my friend, and I will catch up with you later, all right?
You got it. All right. Take care.
And for everybody else, this is the Tinman with the Resistance. Thank you for watching, and if you're watching this, you are the Resistance.